Welcome back to the Entrepreneur's Blueprint. I'm Courtney Cook, your host, and today we're talking about productivity for founders who are already drowning. Here's the productivity advice that nobody gives you. Most of it was written for people who have too much free time. The books, YouTube videos, the Instagram carousels, they assume you have long stretches of an open calendar, the mental bandwidth to experiment with morning routines, and the luxury of optimizing your system before the day gets away from you. You don't have any of that. You have a business to run, a team depending on you, clients expecting things, and a to-do list that was already out of control before you even made your coffee this morning. So today we are not doing surface level productivity tips. We are going deep. I am going to give you 7 of my most important productivity practices, the ones that actually moved the needle for me as a founder and as a fractional COO who sits inside other founders' businesses. I'm going to tell you not just what to do, but why your current approach is probably working against you. And if you want all 14 tips, I've got a full download for you in the show notes. The link is there and grab it after you listen. So let's get into it. I want to be honest with you. I'm not a productivity guru. I don't do a 2-hour morning routine, and I'm not going to sell you on some perfect system that will fix everything. What I am is a person who has spent years inside businesses, both in my own and in my clients'. And I've watched founders lose hour after hour, opportunities, and energy to problems that were completely fixable. The tips I'm sharing today are not fixes, they're not theory, they are actual things. Tip number 1, get everything out of your head immediately. The biggest productivity killer for most founders isn't actually their schedule, it is their brain. Here's what's happening under the surface. Every single open loop you're carrying in your head, every I need to follow up on that, every don't forget to send that invoice, I should really circle back to that idea. It's running in the background like an open app on your phone. You can't see it, but it's draining your battery every day. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain fixates on unfinished tasks. It keeps them active and accessible because it's trying to protect you from forgetting them. Did you know that our brains are wired to protect us? They don't want us to make decisions that might put us at risk. That is just how our brain works. So all of this sounds helpful, but what it actually does is it fills your mental RAM with noise. You walk into a meeting and part of your brain is still chewing on that email that you didn't send. You sit down to do creative work and you're half distracted by the invoice you keep almost forgetting to send. The fix is not a better memory. I have a terrible memory. The fix is a reliable capture system. The moment something lands on your plate, anything, it gets out of your head and into your system. A task in your project management app, a voice memo, a quick note. Doesn't matter exactly how you do it as long as you do it immediately and put it in one place. Don't use your reminders app, your Asana, your notes app, your text messages. Do it in one place. Don't decide what to do with it yet. Just get it out of your head so your brain can stop holding it. It's not complicated. But most founders don't do it consistently and they wonder why they feel scattered and overwhelmed even on the light days. It's because their brain is doing the job that their system should be doing. Get a system and use it every time. Your brain is not your storage system, so stop treating it like one. Tip number 2, use one project management platform for everything. Like I just kind of hinted at before, don't use your reminders app and Asana and your notes app. Just use one. And this is going to feel like a small logistical thing, but it has a bigger impact than most people even expect. When I start working with the founder, I realize that many of them are planning their lives across 3 or 4 different systems. Here's a paper planner, here's your notes app, here's your spreadsheet, here's your Asana. Maybe there's an actual project management tool that you use. Who knows? There's mental lists that live in your head. And this brings us back to tip 1. The problem isn't that any one of these tools is bad. They're all great. The problem is the gaps between them. Things fall through the space between your paper planner and your Asana or your digital calendar. You write a personal errand on a sticky note and never transfer it. A follow-up lives in your email inbox because you don't have a better home for it. The solution is one platform for everything. Work tasks, personal errands, appointments you need to prep for, follow-ups, home projects, everything. I use Asana for both my business and my personal life, and it goes with me everywhere. It's on my laptop, it's on my phone, wherever I am. When I'm at the grocery store and I remember I need to order something for my office, it goes into Asana. When I'm in a client call and someone mentions a deliverable, it goes into Asana before we hang up. When I wake up at 6 a.m. and remember something I need to handle, I open my phone and it goes into Asana. There is no secondary system, which means there is no gap for things to fall into. So pick your platform. Maybe it's Asana, Notion, ClickUp, whatever actually fits how you think, and then just commit to it fully. I cannot emphasize that enough. Commit to it fully. Give me a full 2 weeks of saying, I'm going to do this every single time, no matter what. The tool matters less than the commitment. So be committed and use that one system all the way. Tip number 3 is block focus time before anyone else can take it. I want you to think about how you built your calendar this week. If you're like most founders, here's what probably happened. You kept some time available so you could get work done, and then calls and meetings filled in all around that open space. Whatever was left, that's when you worked. And that's kind of backwards. When you leave time open on your calendar, you are sending a signal to every meeting request and scheduling tool and every team member that says, I'm available, put something here. And they will every single time. Your focus time has to be blocked before anything else, not as a nice to have, not as something you protect when you can. Blocked, marked, busy, recurring. And that's the thing. Make that task recurring so it can never be blocked over. Treat it the same way you treat a client call, which means it has a start time and an end time, and you show up for it every single week. Here is the mindset shift that made this finally click for me. Your available time is not a signal of your value. A packed calendar doesn't make you important, and an open calendar doesn't mean you're free. Your time is a business asset, an asset. Let me say it one more time. Your time is a business asset, and you get to decide how it's allocated. Most founders hand that decision over to other people by default, and I want you to stop doing that. Practically speaking, go to your calendar right now or right after this episode and block at least 2 focus windows per week. Color code them, mark them busy to outside viewers, set them as recurring, protect them in the same way you'd protect time with your most important client. Because in a very real sense, you are your most important client. If you've been running your business with a gut feeling that something is off, but you have no idea where to actually look, or maybe you love the work you're doing, but you're constantly tired because of it, this is for you. I want to build you a roadmap. 90 minutes together, we'll review where you stand against the Monarch Method framework and build a plan for exactly what needs to happen to get you there. Within a week, you'll know what's first, what's second, and what can wait. I only have 3 spots open this month. So visit monarch.com/ops-health-check today to sign up and get your roadmap. We'll also link it in the show notes. You're going to open your laptop on Monday morning and actually know what you're doing. You're going to sit down at dinner with your family, and your mind is actually going to stay there. Okay, let's get back to the episode. Tip number 4, match your work to your energy, not just your schedule. Blocking time on your calendar is only half the equation. The other half is what you put inside those blocks. Most people plan their days based entirely on schedule. What meeting is when, what deadline is coming, what's urgent, but they never factor in the most important variable, their own energy. Here's the reality. You have a peak energy window, probably somewhere in the morning for most people, though you know yourself better than I do. During that window, your brain is sharp. Your focus is available and your creative and strategic thinking is at its best. And after that window closes, you can still be productive, but you're just kind of running on a lower gear. Now, here's where most founders go wrong. They spend their peak energy window doing email. Do you open your email first thing and start, tackling it right away? Or maybe you start taking calls right away or doing administrative work. And then you try to write a proposal or do strategic planning at 3 p.m., but you're mentally depleted. The work you do requires your clearest thinking. The strategy, the content creation, the problem solving, the big decisions, that belongs in your peak window. When is your peak window? Not when it's convenient or when your calendar happens to be clear, it needs to be during your best hours on purpose. The low lift work, email, inbox management, scheduling, routine admin, that goes into your low energy windows, your afternoon, your post lunch slump, that 2 p.m. like, oh my gosh, I could use another coffee. Whenever your energy naturally dips, put it there. This sounds almost too simple, and I want to acknowledge that, but I promise you, if you audit an honest week of how you're actually spending your peak hours, you will be surprised. Most founders are burning their sharpest mental hours on work that doesn't require them to be sharp, and it costs them more than they realize. Map your energy, assign your work accordingly, and protect the math. And I know for some of us, this also sounds really, really hard, but I have a standing 9 a.m. meeting with this client. I can't move it. Sometimes those things happen and sometimes you can't change it. And I have plenty of that myself. But what I have to make sure is that 10:30 hour, I'm spending that time not in my email, but on the tasks that need to be done. Tip number 5, batch similar tasks together. Every time you switch from one type of task to another, you pay a re-entry cost. It's called context switching, and researchers have found that it can cost you up to 40% of your productive time. That number sounds dramatic, but think about how your days could actually unfold. If you answer an email, then you jump to a creative project, then you take a call, then you go back to email, then you look at a spreadsheet, then you try to write something. Every transition has a ramp up period where your brain is still carrying the previous context while trying to load in the new one. The fix is batching. Batch your work. Group like tasks together so you can stay in one mental mode for a longer stretch. All your email happens in one window. Maybe it's 9 to 9:30 in the morning and then 4 to 4:30 at the end of each day. Not scattered throughout the day every time you see a notification. Your client calls are stacked on the same 2 to 3 days per week, if at all possible. Your deep work is a continuous block. Maybe it's a good 2-hour block, not broken up by quick tasks. So I'm going to check Slack here. I'm going to check my email here. Your errands happen in one trip. You're going to go, I'm going to take all my returns with me. I'm going to go to the post office. I'm going to hit the UPS store. I got to stop somewhere and pick something up, whatever. Those happen in one trip. The goal is fewer gear shifts. Every time you stay in one mental mode longer, you work faster and produce better output. And every time you break the mode unnecessarily, now you're essentially paying a tax that you didn't even have to pay. So look at your task list right now. What can you batch? What is scattered that could be consolidated? And start there. Tip number 6, do a weekly planning session. I want to paint a picture of 2 different founders. Founder A starts Monday morning and checks their email to see what's on fire. They respond to the most urgent things and they go to their first call. Then they try to figure out what else needs to happen. Something unexpected comes in around 2 p.m. and they spend the rest of the day on it. Tuesday looks a lot like Monday. And then by Friday, they've been busy all week, but they can't quite account for where all the time went. And several important things didn't even get touched at all. Founder B sits down on Sunday evening or Monday morning for 30 minutes and looks at the entire week. What's due? What's coming? What's sitting unfinished? What deserves their actual attention this week versus what can wait? They build a loose plan for the week and walk into Monday already oriented. The difference between these 2 founders is not their talent. It's not hustle. It's one 30-minute to an hour habit. I also prefer to do this task on a Friday. If I can start looking at, okay, how does next week look? I can rest easy into my weekend knowing, oh, I've got a pretty good plan for what's happening next week. I don't have to dwell on it over the weekend. And if I can get 2 weeks out and at least start blocking the time blocks I know I'm going to need the following week, or I know I want to protect my calendar the following weeks, I need to also spend that time doing that. A weekly planning session is the single highest leverage productivity habit I know of for founders. It shifts your entire operating posture from reactive to proactive. You stop spending your days responding to what's loudest and start spending them moving towards what matters. Do this for 30 minutes once a week. If you only take one thing from the episode, let it be this one. Tip number 7, delegate based on what only you can do yourself. This is the one most founders know intellectually and still don't actually do. You've heard the principle, focus on your zone of genius. Delegate everything else, let go of control, elevate the work only you can do. I know you've heard it. And I know you're still doing the things you shouldn't be doing. So let's talk about why and how to actually fix it. Most founders hold on to tasks for one of three reasons. One, habit. They've just always done it, so they keep doing it without questioning it. Two, control. They don't fully trust someone else to do it right. And three, they haven't done the work of figuring out what they should be delegating. Here's the exercise that actually works. Take everything on your plate right now, every recurring task, project, everything you do in a given week. And for each item, ask it one question. Does this actually require me? Not, am I the best person for this? Because you're always going to think you're the best person for it. Or could I do it better than them? Does it require you? That's the question I'm asking. If somebody can do it up to 80% of the way that you could do it, just hand it off already. Is there something about the task that only you can provide? Maybe it's your relationships, your expertise, or your decision-making authority, your creative voice. If the answer is no, it is a candidate to delegate, automate, or drop entirely. Most founders who do this exercise are startled by how much of their week doesn't actually require of them. They are actually doing operational tasks that could just go to their VA, or they're handling scheduling that a tool could manage. They're in the weeds on things that a team member could own. And here's the hard truth I'll leave you with on this one is if you're doing $15 an hour work, your $200 an hour thinking is going undone. Someone or something else could be doing those tasks for you. Nobody else can do your thinking that requires your brain. Build the not to-do list. Make it as important as your to-do list. Let me say that again. Build your, here's my not what I'm going to do to-do list, and make it as important as your to-do list. Start moving those things off your plate with intention, not just when you get overwhelmed. The more time you spend teaching somebody else to do that work, the bigger the payoff is going to be for you. So those were 7 tips. Let's recap them quickly so they're fresh. Number 1, get everything out of your head the moment it arrives. 2, run your whole life through one project management platform. 3, block your focus time before anyone else can take it. 4, match your work to your energy, not just your schedule. 5, batch similar tasks to eliminate the context switching tax. 6, do a weekly planning session to shift from reactive to proactive. And 7, delegate based on what only you can do and build a not to-do list to make it stick. These 7 are just a starting point. There are 7 more in my full download linked in the show notes. Grab it if you want the complete list. The link is right there. Before you do anything else today, I want you to just pick one. Pick one, please. One tip from this list. Identify one concrete thing you can do before the end of this week and put it into practice. Not all 7, just one. The founder who implements one thing well is miles ahead of the founder who takes note on 7 things and does nothing. You are building something real and you deserve a business that runs with intention, not just effort. Thank you so much for being here today. If this episode helped you, please share it with another founder who needs it, and I'll see you next week.